All right, we're live. Bryan, what's up, man?
What's up, buddy?
How you doing?
It's Tuesday morning here.
Yeah, so when did you wake up?
I wake up at 3, but I get text messages from people that want me to be on SLTV at 2:30.
This is true.
So
This is true.
2:30.
Yeah, so guys, if you're just joining us, I am Charlie Bathgate and one of the partners here at Sang Lucci, and I'm talking here with Bryan Weiner, who is our, quantitative options trading specialist. That's probably the most succinct way of putting it. He's a former market maker, former trader on the floor of the pit at CME. He's just a badass options trader who knows the ins and outs of them better than anyone I've ever met. And what we're here to talk about today is the work that Bryan is doing with Ezra. We can't talk too much about some of this stuff, but a little bit on the X-Algo project that we've been putting together. A lot of you guys have seen the P&Ls that we've been putting out on Twitter. Bryan is now actually making the transition to being the night trader for this, right? So it's a big sacrifice for him to make, for the team, for the crew. He's one of the only people that we would really trust it to, and who has the chops to be able to manage something like this. And it basically entails him reshaping his whole schedule to do this for us. So, so Bryan, tell these guys you did the night shift once before, right? At Trading Machines.
It was post Trading Machines. So when Trading Machines broke up,
Right.
Haim and I were working on finding something that has edge, and night has edge in America because it takes a specific type of person that's willing to drop everything that they're used to, equity trading, equity options, dropping all that, and focusing on being up from 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. To interact with the rest of the world pretty much. So
Right.
I was there during the tsunami in Japan in 2011. And it's tough. It's like you have permanent jet lag kind of, but
Right.
especially like on the weekends.
Right.
So on
So
Friday,
when do you wake up on the weekends?
well, here's the deal. On Friday, I try to wake up around noon to trade expiration Friday for a few
Right.
hours, try to make some money, and still be in the equity market. And that helps me stay up and have a normal weekend, sort of. I take a nap. I have a scheduled 3 o'clock nap on Sundays.
Love it.
It's tough though. It's tough because football's on and fantasy football, so it's gonna be way easier when football season is over and
Right.
and the Patriots win the Super Bowl because they look so dominant. So.
I fucking hate you, but unfortunately, I'm a Broncos fan, guys. If you don't know, that last game between Patriots and Broncos was pretty heart wrenching for me, and I gotta say, I think I would actually take Brady right now. He looks absurd, but we're not here to talk about that.
All
So,
right.
so let's, talk a little bit about like the adjustment. Oh, you got a cat in the background. Sweet, I miss having
Oh
cats.
yeah. Yep, no doubt.
What's his name? Her name.
It's her. Her name is Pandora. She is a sociopath.
Love it. Most
She
cats are,
is.
dude.
Yep.
Most cats are. So you're talk to these guys about kind of what your routine is, right? So you're waking up at 3. You're kind of, I'm assuming, getting some stuff done, and then 7 o'clock comes on. That's when Ezra passes the baton to you.
Right.
What starts then?
Right. So I wake up at 3. I do my burpees so I can get some energy. So I'm like all jazzed up and stuff, ready to go. Take
Love
my
it.
vitamins. I know it's very important. Get my my B12s.
Yes.
And yeah, I do the normal things that I would do at night. Like I'll cook for my girlfriend. She comes home.
Right.
I go to the grocery store, which I enjoy. I do all those things, and then at 7 o'clock, it's like I sit down and I kind of. Here's the deal. It's like when you're transitioning from equity options to futures and night futures, you have to kind of it's a new arena. You have to get used to the new environment. I'm getting
Right.
used to even just looking at futures ladders where the bids and offers are stacked up. So I'm used to that. Um, what I'm doing is a couple of things. I'm trying to bring back the coding knowledge that I had from that 2011 and 2012
Right.
year. I can code, so I'm trying to learn that while I watch to make sure that the X algo is running
Mm.
properly, make sure that the trades match up, and just make sure the system is breathing fine. I text Ezra if there's some kind of problem.
Right.
It's a humbling experience because now you're not like the chief bitch there. You're not the I don't know the future space as well as I do equity options or even equity option even futures options. So basically, what I'm wanting to do is implement a maybe a new futures algo, something maybe with correlations in currencies with the different commodities. That's kind of what I want to work on. That's why
Right.
I am trying to relearn coding. I know C++. I'm trying to learn C sharp and Python. I've heard
Right.
of Python, obviously C sharp as well, but I don't know anything about Python. So it forces me to sit here for 12 hours and reinvent myself again because I've reinvented myself. This will be the fourth major time.
And
Uh,
dude, that's exact. I've heard Lucci say that exact phrase. He's at number 4 right now when he talks about reinventing himself as a trader, and that's something that I think a lot of people don't understand. But really good traders, top traders, like they reinvent themselves. It's like a butterfly, cocoon, caterpillar kind of thing. It just happens like consistently throughout a career.
right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's that, and then parallel to that is really mapping my options knowledge and on top of the X algos trade, and because there's additional edge. Even in the E-mini options, which I traded that on the floor, there's edge. At night because it's
Right.
either automated with some junior trader that doesn't know what the hell he's doing,
Right.
or it's the world markets where there's a lot of dumb money in there. I
Right.
mean, no offense to the Asian markets or the Indian markets. I mean, there's a lot of dumb money in there, and so that
Right.
it's a good opportunity to try to scrape some of that out. So
Yeah.
it's kind of fun. It's weird though because the sun comes up. My girlfriend like gets out of bed and it's like, oh, hey, how's your day? I'm like, it was night, but it was okay. So
Right.
yeah,
Yeah,
so
I
it's
mean,
fun.
you guys talking about the international markets has been pretty crazy, right? I mean, getting into international markets, obviously we can't go into too much specifics about what you guys are trading and what you're looking into, but just it's talked about in a lot of trading circles is like it's like going back to the 80s or something, right? Like to the heyday of like when you could just in the U.S. markets just pull absurd money because you just knew more, you were faster, you just were better, you were more sophisticated, right? And a lot of people you were trading against had no idea what they're doing. The U.S. markets are not like that anymore, right? I mean, edge is a
Right.
lot harder to find.
Right.
Um,
I mean,
so yeah,
because it's like during the day and with things that it's so saturated, like the U.S. equities and all those algos. They're running even till 8 o'clock at night. They're doing the after hours and the pre-market, but there's essentially from 8 p.m. to 4 a.m. when the U.S. equity market is completely shut. You can't trade anything. There is money in the world that still wants to trade. And I'm not saying that they're dumb in Asia, but what I'm saying is that, I guess how they grew up as traders is different. And if you can find a way to trade against that flow, because it is flow,
right,
then there's edge there, and that's the thing. It's hunting for edge, and it is like the wild wild west. It's always going to be like that until say the U.S. Equity market is open 24 hours. Now, the E-minis are open 24 and Nasdaq's open 24, but aside from that, we got currencies, we have Asian futures, we have Europe opens early in the morning. There's a lot of things out there that you can trade, and it's about their knowledge base. And if it's not totally I don't know, all encompassing. If their upbringing on how to trade is not 100%, like I would say most, like America, that's where kind of option trading started almost. It did
right,
it. It traded in Europe too, obviously, but it's
right.
just it's just there are a lot of nighthawks out there that probably make all their money in like a 6 hour period, even just at night, and it's kind of fun. It's kind of weird. It's kind of weird going to bed when the sun comes up, though. I have to say.
Well, that's one of the things that I was talking about with you because you having experience being a night trader. One of the things that you said is like it's kind of like being in the pit. Like it's an experience that there's like a kind of a subculture of kind of like weirdos and guys who are like you said hunting for edge and doing things that are a little bit innovative and pushing themselves. And there's kind of an underground to that, right? And that's one of the things we've been talking about is having setting something up with you where it's like people can pop by and just like you're chilling there and you're obviously running the algo and doing everything that you need to be doing, but you can sit there and talk to guys and connect with other traders or just guys who are day traders who are popping in. They're like, I want to talk to Bryan and pick his brain about X, Y, Z.
Right, and it's beneficial for me as well because it'll help me stay awake and sharp. I mean, as there's only so much coffee I can have.
Right.
My girlfriend introduced me to green tea on Saturday when we were walking around Soho, and I was like, I think I like green tea. It kind of wakes me up a little bit. It's cleaner than coffee.
It's much cleaner than coffee. She just added like 5 years to your life, man. That's sweet.
At least one.
At least one. It's an uphill battle.
Yeah.
That's awesome, man. And I think for you guys who are out there listening and watching, it's pretty important to highlight like the level of sacrifice that everyone on our team, but as emulated by Bryan here, that you got to be willing to make if you really want to get to that highest level of trading, right? I mean, the opportunity that we sort of saw is to have a guy who is as intelligent and who has the experience that Bryan has, running this thing at night. It sets up a cross-pollination between his big-ass options brain and Ezra and everything that Ezra's doing, all the experience that he has on the automation side and the instruments that he's trading. My opinion, and I'm probably the least informed of this of everyone, but my opinion is that in a couple months we're going to see some serious, sparks coming out of like this collaboration, and it's a pretty big deal, man. It's a big deal to flip your schedule like that, to ask of your girlfriend, it's a big deal. So you guys should take note that this is what it takes sometimes, man. You got to be willing to make serious sacrifices if you're going to make it as a trader in these markets. Bryan,
and it's exciting because it's 24 hours. Like, I knew you could trade 24 hours, but it wasn't something that was inherent in my, thought process. And now I want to make that 23-hour trade. I'm dying for it. It's like I need to find my thing. I have ideas in my head, and then layers of ideas on top of Ezra's. So it's like it's kind of exciting, and it's what I need to do because we've been working on market making in the equities, and we've had some technical glitches with our provider or whatever. It's like long story, but this is an opportunity, and it seemed like the right place at the right time for me to get into this because I'm pretty confident I'm going to be able to run something also 24 hours.
Right.
So it's kind of exciting.
It's fucking awesome, man. Talk a little bit. I mean, you are one of the guys that if you meet a trader, if a trader comes into our offices and talks about what they're doing, you sit there, you can talk to them and listen to them for 10, 20 minutes, whatever, and you can give a rundown on whether or not someone knows what they're doing extremely quickly, right? I mean, you've been around enough traders, you know trading like the back of your hand, and it was cool for me when you were talking about Ezra and his system and whatnot. Without going into specifics, talk a little bit about like just the experience of like seeing the work that he's put together, kind of what that's been like for you, on a professional standpoint.
Right. I mean, it's amazing all what he's done in the short period of time to go from no lines of code to all the code that he has and building the code, and it's running. I haven't seen a problem yet, which is exciting. It makes my job easier, but it also just puts the level of architecture on this highest plane that it's something for me to achieve. And obviously, I am not going to be able to execute like that, but I do know that I can leverage his execution. All I have to do is add algos. So he takes half the job out of my hands, and his execution is excellent. So it's just me coming up with a strategy to implement, and then it's exciting because when you're clicking your finger, you have to be all over the place with this. I mean, obviously I knew this, but it's exciting because like the way that the messages he sends to the exchange, the orders, the way you cancel and replace and all these things, I mean, it's very universal. It's very generic, and so all you have to do is plug in. This is the algo. you plug it in, X algos executes it, and then I get to buy an island, next to Peter Sang, I guess. You know,
Peter Zhang, no, no, no.
he wants an island.
He wants to be in Puerto Rico. I guess Puerto Rico might have some islands. He just wants to be in Puerto Rico.
Oh, he wants to be in Puerto Rico. I thought he wanted his own island. Puerto
I
Rico's
mean,
cool.
I'm sure he wants the island too. Maybe that'll be a company thing. We'll put one foot in front of the other. See when we get there. Awesome, man. Well, yeah, guys, if you want to follow some of what's going on, stay tuned to our Twitter feed, to our email list, to Bryan's Twitter feed. We are going to be rolling something out where it's going to be a chance for you guys to join Bryan. I think we said probably around 8 o'clock at night, right? 8 o'clock, 8 to 9. It's going to depend on how Bryan feels it out. And Bryan is a ridiculously intelligent dude, and this is one of those things where it's like there's no dressing on this, right? It's just going to be Bryan, doing what he's doing, teaching himself those new coding languages, running the algo, whatnot, and he's going to be chilling there. If you guys want to pop in and talk to him and ask him questions, I mean, he knows fantasy maybe even better than he knows options. So if you got some fantasy football needs, hit him up on that. A little drum and bass conversation. Never heard anybody
about that all night. Yeah,
talking about drum and bass. That'll keep him jacked up and focused. It's a huge opportunity for anyone out there who, if I know there's some Peter Zangs out there who just like find ways to get good information, good education, and they just like soak it up like a sponge. That's an important thing to do when you're at the beginning of your career. This is a very good opportunity to do that. So, we're going to connect you guys with Bryan. And then follow the X Algos thing on Twitter. It's at X Algos. So just follow it. We're putting the P&Ls up there every day in true Sang Lucci fashion, full transparency. It's still in development phase, right? So this is actually still a testing and developmental phase. It's not really supposed to launch in full until 2015, but we were able to kind of pressure Ezra into saying, hey, let's give people a sneak peek into what's going on. So yeah, some very cool stuff going on here, guys. And for all you night traders out there, if you want to learn how to connect with Bryan, hit us up. Contact at sanglucci.com. Bryan at sanglucci.com is Bryan's email. Hit us up, man. It's a very cool opportunity. Word. All right, Bryan. Well, thanks for joining us, man. Hope you get that green tea going. Stay awake.
Thanks, bro. All right.
Some drum bass on.
Yes, sir. Later.
Peace.